I'm Shauna McGill-Fagan and welcome to the Love NI Food podcast. This is where we celebrate Northern Ireland's food and drink industry, our great food, great people and great stories. You know, we've so much to be proud of here in Northern Ireland. Our local food and drink industry contributes 8 billion to the local economy. Our local produce is exported to over 70 countries worldwide, and we can trace our food from farm to fork. And on the Love NI Food podcast, we let the people driving the industry here in Northern Ireland tell their stories. This episode of the Love NI Food podcast is brought to you by Andrew Ingredients, supporting Northern Ireland's food industry for over 80 years. On this week's episode of the Love NI Food podcast, my guest is from a fifth-generation family business that has its roots in a small Italian cafe in Coleraine. The business is synonymous with the North Coast. She is no ice queen, but she is ice cream royalty. Daniela Morelli-Kerr, Sales and Marketing Director from Morelli's Ice Cream. You're very welcome to the Love NI Food podcast.
Thank you very much, Shauna. It's lovely to be here.
Delighted to have you. Daniela Morelli, the name, the brand, it evokes such lovely memories for so many people and their childhoods because a visit to Portrush just isn't complete without popping into Morelli's for a 99 or a Poke.
Yep.
It must be lovely knowing that the Northern Ireland folk think so fondly of the brand.
It is. It's lovely to see that. And with Easter just gone, the wind and the rain and the sleet definitely didn't put people off their wee trip to Portrush and their ice cream, which was lovely to see because the Northern Irish are stealth when it comes to ice cream.
Yeah, isn't that lovely? So in the wind and the rain, they were still queuing out the door.
They
to
were
pick
indeed.
Up. That's wonderful. Tell me, where did the term 99 come from?
There's a few different stories on that, I think. A long time ago, 99, which is 99 in Italian, meant kind of luxury. And it was also an old Italian guard, like King's Guard. And I think there's somewhere between that story and Cadbury's. That name stuck, so it became the 99 then.
Did Cadbury's, I believe, for marketing purposes, introduce a shorter flake or something and popped it in, and then all of a sudden it became 99?
Yeah, I think so. As I say, there's a few different versions of that story, but that's the one that's most often told. And if you ask anybody that works for that brand in Cadbury's, they will tell you the same. So yeah. I'll stick to that one.
It's pretty much stuck, hasn't it? Yeah. The 99. And tell me, is it still a Poke if it's a Morelli's ice cream?
It quite often is a Poke, and I think it's our Celtic roots. Our Scottish friends sometimes call it a pokey hat. So they would get asked for a Poke as well. So I think it's just a Celtic thing. A Poke was obviously a cone shape, and it used to get a Poke of chips as well. So I think it just translated with ice cream then and kind of stuck.
And what is the flavour? What's your best-selling flavour at the moment, Daniela? What are we loving at the moment?
Double cream vanilla.
Every time.
It's usually, there's been a couple of years where honeycomb has just topped it, and I mean like a very, very small percentage, but we've a very sweet tooth here. Our double cream vanilla is probably Ireland's most awarded ice cream now, which we're super duper proud of. It's Dad's recipe. It's the one that he tinkered with the most, and it's the one we're probably most proud of. So it's lovely to see that at the top.
And the Ice Cream Alliance Awards, I know the Double Dairy just sweeps the board at that award ceremony.
We got Champion of Champions in 2025 with our double cream vanilla, so you can't get any better than that.
What makes it so special? What makes the Morelli's version of the double vanilla so special?
I think we've the best of both worlds because we have an Italian recipe, but we make it with Irish dairy ingredients, which everyone knows are the best in the world. So our main suppliers on our doorstep is Ballyrashane Creamery, so we use their double cream and their butter, and it just gives a richness and a smoothness like no other.
So that lack of food miles, buying local, sourcing local from your suppliers, all makes it extra special,
It does
doesn't
indeed.
it?
It's very consistent,
Yeah.
and that always helps with the quality.
Yeah. Now, Morelli's would be the OG for ice cream for me. But there seems to be a bit of an ice cream revolution going on at the minute,
There
doesn't there? I
is.
mean,
We're very lucky in Northern Ireland because we've got so many quality ice creams. So I don't think there's a bad ice cream out there, to be honest.
but the gelato and ice cream parlours that are popping up on every high street, does that make things a little bit more challenging for the likes of Morelli's, or does it mean that you have to work that little bit harder? Or
I think competition's healthy. It does keep us on our toes, so we have to constantly work to be the best. That's what we want to be. We want to use quality ingredients all the time to make a consistently good product. So I honestly think that the competition is healthy, and I'm delighted to see that the quality of the product here in Northern Ireland is so good because it makes people more discerning, I think, and fussy as well.
and when you say discerning and fussy, has the Northern Ireland palate changed in terms of the flavours that we enjoy over
Um,
the years,
I
or
don't think the palette has changed because our top 10 sellers will always remain sort of our top 10 sellers. But there's a few newbies that have come in that have become kind of cult flavours. And there are collaborative flavours that we've made with other
Yeah.
local producers. And that's lovely to see.
Yeah.
Um,
Can't wait to talk about that lovely
Yeah.
collaborative work that you do later on.
yes.
Tell me, what was it like growing up in the ice cream parlour? I mean, it's dreamlike, isn't it, for any kid?
It is.
You know,
I mean,
growing up in an ice cream shop.
we all started work from around the age of 9 or 10. I think we started helping out. But my mother was Italian as well, so we had it on both sides. So two big families, and you used to come home from school and you'd never know who'd be sitting in the kitchen because there was so many. Obviously, family. My mum's roots were in Dublin. She was a DeVito, so she had a big, massive family down there as well. So we have hundreds of cousins. And when you go back to Italy, you always discover another couple that you never knew you had. So that's nice. Our childhood was always in fish and chips and ice cream. Ice cream was kind of always secondary. So growing up, Dad's passion was always ice cream, and that was very apparent. So whenever we had a kiosk at the front of the shop, and our shop was opposite Barry's, so it was an ideal place to grow up. Like, it was mad in a good way.
Yeah.
But it was all the whipped ice cream mainly that was in then in the late 80s, early 90s. And I remember Dad making maybe 6 or 7 different flavours of the scoop ice cream and thinking, wow, this is really different. And we started off with 9 flavours, I think. And I remember the day he came home from the cash and carry with toppings. It was like, we've got toppings.
Wow, yeah.
And I'm talking like chopped nuts, hundreds and thousands, and chocolate. That was it. And then things just developed, and the industry became bigger, and the demand became more. So it's lovely to sort of have that timeline.
Your late father, Guido, was very instrumental in growing the Morelli, the business.
Yeah.
And particularly on the recipe, as you've alluded to, on the recipe development side and
Yeah.
on the production side.
Yeah, that was his passion. So we still have his little books that he worked on, and just nothing fancy, just spiral notepads. But the sums, ice cream's quite technical, and obviously you've to know your stuff in terms of milk solids, non-fat, and all the different things that can balance a recipe. But Dad was really good at that. The last recipe that he did before he passed away was chocolate, and that's still the chocolate recipe that we use today. And we're delighted because it's come up the charts to number 3. So it used to be mint choc chip, and now it's vanilla, honeycomb, and chocolate.
Wouldn't he be thrilled? He'd be thrilled with that,
He'd be
wouldn't
absolutely
he?
delighted. Yeah.
So obviously his influence is still alive and kicking in the business.
It definitely is.
Is Naldo referring back to the book, to the old recipes
course,
that your father wrote down?
He is. We have a little library, and Dad's ice cream books are all in there. So he go in when we're talking about MPD. We'll go in there and consult the books and see. And even he was always ahead of his time, Dad, with new ideas. So it's nice to go back in and see what he had earmarked. There was a book from a gentleman. lives in Girona, called Angelo Corvito. He'd obviously Italian roots, but he wrote a book about ice cream, and Dad purchased it online and devoured it. And he said, I need to go and meet Angelo Corvito. And my niece lived in Girona at the time. So he booked a flight and went and stayed with her. And he went to his ice cream shop to meet him. And that's how far I used to go for
How incredible.
a good recipe.
Isn't that the most wonderful story? Yeah. But the origin of the Morelli family story is quite incredible. It's a wonderful story of survival and resilience and sheer hard work and determination.
Yeah.
Your family story.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. My great uncle Peter was the first family member to hit the North Coast. So he arrived in Coleraine around about 1911, and he bought a wee shop in Stone Row, and then married a local woman called Annie Diamond. They didn't have any kids. The shop was primarily fish and chips, but it was kind of a one-stop shop. He did a bit of everything. He sold cigarettes. He ran a taxi service from the shop. He sold confectionery, a number of different things. So he just, where there was a gap, he saw it as an excuse to sell it or do it, really. So in the summertime, my grandfather came from Italy to help him out, as I say, because they'd no kids. And at that point, after about the second summer season, there was an opportunity to buy a property in Portstewart on the promenade. And Peter took it, obviously, and opened a second Morelli shop. So my grandfather was quite ambitious. So he thought to himself, I'm going to ask him, would he sell me that shop? Mm-hmm. So he asked him, and Peter agreed. And so he said, right, I'm going to go back to Italy and marry Anastasia, my sweetheart, and I'll bring her back to Portstewart and we'll run this shop together. Now, Peter had the good sense to naturalise himself, so he became a British citizen. Unfortunately, my grandfather didn't either didn't get round to it, or he just didn't do it in time. And then obviously World War II broke out. So my grandmother and him lived above the shop in Portstewart. There was a knock at the door one evening. It was the police, and they took my grandfather away. So initially to Crumlin Road Jail, and then on to a place called Bury in Lancashire, to an internee camp, missing persons camp, really. So there he awaited his fate. But he was extremely lucky on two occasions. The first occasion was in Lancashire, because they didn't know what to do with all these internees. So they split them into two groups, and there was kind of a roll call. And at the beginning of the roll call, they called for Angelo Morelli to join the group on the right, which he did. And then again at the end of the roll call, they called his name again. But there wasn't two Angelo Morellis, there was only one. So they moved him to the group on the left. The group on the right ended up going on a ship called the Arundora Star, which was torpedoed off the coast of Donegal with immense loss of life. So he was extremely lucky.
Oh my gosh, honestly, what a story.
Yeah, so he ended up in the Isle of Man for 6 years, along with a lot of other Italians from the same area. So he would always have told you it wasn't really a hardship. He was really lucky because he was with his friends, you know.
And tell me, when Angelo was in charge, what happened to Anastasia? Was she left at home?
She was left at home. She held the fort.
She must have been some woman.
She did a super job, and there was a family friend also of Italian origin called Mrs. Anania, and she helped her and she helped her get credit accounts with various suppliers and things like that. So she became quite a shrewd businesswoman and had to learn English really fast because there was no one there to help her. She just had to get on with it. So
that entrepreneurial streak, that very natural entrepreneurial streak, seemed to run through the veins of your father, the Morelli side, and on your mother's side. So that's
she was
quite
very
something.
Shrewd and very witty as well.
Are you like Anastasia?
I'd like to think so. Yeah, a little bit.
Strong woman.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Did Angelo and Anastasia have any children at that point?
Yes,
Daniela?
the three brothers were all born at that stage. So the two older boys had gone to Italy because it was their wish for them to learn Italian, and they were of the age where they could go there and spend some time with their grandmother. My dad was only 3, so he stayed in Portstewart with his mum. So what happened was the Germans took over the family home as their headquarters,
Oh.
and the family got displaced. So the two older boys ended up in a missing persons camp, like a Red Cross style place, in a place called Aversa, which is near Naples. So they were kind of out of the loop about what was happening. They were separated from their family, but they weren't in any danger. They were being looked after. But there was the commander of the camp had sent for the boys, and they came into a kind of a makeshift office. And the gentleman said, "Are you boys from Northern Ireland?" And they said yes. And he said, "Is your father Angelo Morelli?" And they said yes. The commander of the camp was a man called William Irwin Cunningham, who was an ex-town clerk of the town of Portstewart.
What were the chances? You are kidding me.
So he arranged for their safe return to Northern Ireland. So they had to fly through England, and they were picked up by a family member there, and they got back to Portstewart.
Oh, we need to get our people to talk to Spielberg's people and get this movie made, because that is just... Thank you for sharing that with us. That is quite an incredible story.
It is.
That connection then to Italy and to that wonderful extended family, has that evolved or changed? Are the links still there?
The links are still firmly there. I think my grandfather, or Nono as we called him, always wanted his legacy was for his grandchildren and their families to return to Italy every year. Obviously it's not possible to do that every year, and it's definitely not possible for us to do it in July and August when you would want to be there. But he made a swimming pool at the back of the house, and he said, well, that will at least encourage them to come back. We're all really fond of it, and we all love a wee jolly back there. It's always great, and it's the type of place where you can really chill out too. So
and when did you last visit?
I haven't actually been since 2015. And my dad was with me. It was the first time that we brought my husband and my son there. So it was lovely for him to see it, and also went with my dad being there as well. But sadly, my mum passed away there. So it's bittersweet going back there for me.
Of course.
Yeah.
The business is there's so many parts now to the business today, the Morelli business, because you have the cafes, the family-owned cafes. You have the production side of the business, the manufacturing of the ice creams, and then you have, the retail range. Will you give us an overview as to how the business looks and the structure and all the various elements to it, Daniela?
Okay, well, I'll start off with the production, the factory, which is in Sperrin Business Park in Coleraine. So that site has kind of evolved over the past 20 years. We've extended there. We've built a big new freezer to accommodate the growing sales, which is a great situation to be in. So our production facility doubled in size just before COVID. And then we have our family-owned stores, which are in Portrush, Portstewart and Ballycastle. And then we have 12 branded stores as well that are owned independently of us, but have received, obviously, training, and they have the people run their own Morelli outlet, really. And then we have independent customers who sell our scoop ice cream. And then there's the retail end, which is the pre-filled lines.
And you launched the retail range in 2018. That was the first time Morelli's take-home branded product was available in supermarkets.
Yeah, I think we launched a bit before that in Tesco. Tesco was our first supermarket customer, and Cliff Kells was at the helm then.
Cliff.
So Arnaldo met Cliff at a Meet the Buyer event, and Cliff had faith, and we launched in Tesco. The packaging wasn't maybe as good then, but it's kind of evolved and the flavour selection has too.
Yeah.
And Tesco is one of our best supermarket customers.
Was that move into retail, taking a heritage brand into retail, was that part of a strategic decision on the part of the family to grow the business?
I mean, the scoop side of the business was always seasonal, and it was always our intention to grow the retail end. But there was a bit of guesswork in terms of what flavours people wanted, so we did a good bit of work on and some research into that, and launched with obviously the favourite and the best sellers. When you're launching a retail product, you have to be sure that it'll sell because you've a commitment there with packaging. So quite often it's a 10,000 minimum run. So you have to be very sure that what you're bringing to market is going to be what people want.
There's a significant investment, isn't there, in the whole packaging and branding and marketing element. In terms of the flavour development that you mentioned for the core range, how do you test that? I'd love to be an ice cream taste tester, wouldn't that be? That'd be a big job.
It's my favourite time in the factory whenever we're working on new product development, and at this time of the year is quite often when it happens. It happens a couple of times of the year, obviously in the autumn time too, when we're not too busy. But this is the time where our suppliers will come to the factory, and we've maybe seen new products at trade shows, but you don't know whether a new product will work with your base. So quite often the supplier will come to us and we'll run it through our machine with using our product to see how it translates.
I noticed on your socials that your first new product launch of this year, of 2026, was white Dubai chocolate.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
It's nice. I think the Dubai chocolate and the whole pistachio thing went absolutely crazy last year, and they've driven the price of pistachio through the roof as a result. But I think there's still a demand for it. There's still a love for the Dubai chocolate and pistachio in general. So we wanted to do something that was a little bit different. We launched the normal Dubai chocolate last year, and it sold very well. So we thought, well, why not do a white chocolate version and see how that goes? So it's selling well.
We had a lovely conversation on a previous episode with Oscar from Suki Tea, and we were talking a lot about matcha.
Yeah.
And how they're just selling so much of the matcha tea. Is the matcha a flavour that you're looking at? Maybe?
Yeah, it is. It's on the short list.
Oh, it's on the short list. Yeah.
I think we're doing trials of that very soon. But we actually did a matcha based one for the Gulf. For when the Open came last year. So Tourism Ireland approached us and asked us to develop an ice cream, and their brief was, if Gulf was an ice cream, what would it taste like? So not difficult at all. So we went about that thinking, oh my goodness, this is going to be difficult. But we had an ice cream with 3 different elements, which is quite unusual for us. Normally it's maybe 2 together, but this one it was just called Gulf. So it had a matcha base for grass, obviously, with a sea buckthorn ripple. So sea buckthorn grows wild on the golf course, on a links course, and it had Italian white peppermint in it too. So that was for the fresh air of the course.
Lovely combination, because you're getting that green matcha colour for the golf course, and then the white of the golf ball. Clever.
So we were a bit sceptical. We didn't think it would sell all that well, and we didn't make. I think we made 60 5-litre tubs, and it flew. So there's definitely a taste for the matcha, but I think it has to be with something to bring out the sweetness.
Yeah. You know, at the heart of every great Northern Ireland food story are the ingredients that make it possible. For over 80 years, the team at Andrew Ingredients has been the steadfast partner behind our thriving food industry. They're based in Lisburn. They're a proud family business with a team dedicated to helping local producers grow and innovate. Whether you're an artisan startup or an established local brand, Andrew Ingredients is proud to champion the people who make our food scene so special. To learn more about their story and how they support the local industry, head over to andrewingredients.com or follow them on socials at Andrew Ingredients. Just in light of, just when we're talking about the golf, in light of his back-to-back Masters win, will the sprinkles be out again to do another mosaic?
We would love to do it again. In fact, Rory was taken from the shop and put in the factory, so he's above our freezer, and we see him every day.
Yeah, I know everybody loves him, but we're a wee bit annoyed with him here in the Love NI Food podcast, because he did come out and say he wasn't a big fan of Irish food and chose a very mixed menu for his master's dinner.
He's not going to the right places
no,
then.
Come on, Rory. Come on. He can do better than that for us all.
Definitely.
Anyway, so the mosaic might come back out again, might it?
Who knows? Who knows?
For our listeners, this was a wonderful nod to Rory's success in 2025. And the Morelli family come up with... they made a mosaic of Rory made completely from sprinkles.
Yeah.
And you mounted it up on the... Who came up with that idea and who did you work with to create that?
Well, back in, I think it was 2019 when the Open came.
2019, yeah.
When the Open came first, Francesco Molinari was the reigning champion. So we thought, well, let's do something to honour Molinari because he is the champion. So we did it initially with him. And it went mad. So we knew when Rory won the Masters and the Open was coming back, we had to do it again.
Such a clever idea from a marketing perspective. Was that your idea?
It was a collaborative sort of idea. We worked with a PR company called Clearbox at the time. We still do.
Yeah.
And I think the girls at the time wanted us to maybe do the local golfers, but we were like, no, we want to do Molinari.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a gamble, but it definitely worked out.
And did
it
prove to be just a fantastic marketing ploy for selfies and photographs and...
Everyone was kind of in Portrush business. People were a bit sceptical about the golf coming and how, that crowd, because at that time, people weren't allowed in and out of the course. They had to, once they were in the course, that was them for the day. They weren't allowed to go up the town if they wanted to. Mm-hmm. So we thought, well, why not do something to entice the people to come in after when they can and they're walking around. So normally wouldn't be our crowd really, but I think we gave them a reason to come in and see it and maybe buy an ice cream. So,
clever.
Yeah.
Very clever. You are now producing, is it somewhere between 40 and 50 different flavours?
Yeah, we have 42 core flavours. And then we'll have a selection of limited edition ones that we'll bring in that maybe we feel that's trending or we'd like to do something around that trend, and we'll make a limited batch of say 200 and we'll put that out and see how it goes. Now if it's one that flies, obviously we'll think about, but we're having to get strict because sometimes it gets ridiculous, so we're now on a one in one out. Right. So we don't really want it to go like up to 50 again because that's where we were. So
because on an operational level that must be very
there's a lot of
manage.
lines to keep in stock. So I think 42 is a good core range. It offers something for everybody. We've got a dairy free range within that, and we've got 2 flavours of frozen yogurt, which again we collaborate with Clandy Boy on that.
Local supplier.
So that goes well, particularly in the summer. And then we have a couple of sorbets as well. So you've got ice cream, you've got frozen yogurt, you've got sorbet, and you've got obviously the ice cream too.
Have you ever launched a flavour that has just completely flopped?
Yes.
Oh, how many?
My brother, I don't know if you remember that bacon.
Was this the piggy in the middle?
Yeah, piggy in the middle.
I honestly thought that was an April Fool.
Yeah, well,
was
so
it?
Did we?
It wasn't. It wasn't.
No, wasn't an April Fool. We brought that out, and people weren't fans.
Where was who was that? Naldo or
Marino?
Yeah. Where was his head at? Explain to our listeners and viewers what the piggy in the middle.
So bacon in sweet things was trending. This was about maybe 10 years ago, and Marino came up with doing a version of maybe like a pancetta, so it's quite crispy, coated in chocolate and put through ice cream. So that's what it was.
What did you make of it?
Not for me.
How long did it last? How long did it?
Just until we sold it all.
All right.
It was never making a comeback.
Yeah. And was he moved positions? Was he no longer head of
No,
he
still does NPD, but he's quite funny actually. He gets really into it. So when he likes something personally, he really wants it to sell, and sometimes it's not commercial and it doesn't sell, and if you feel sorry for him, but
and he gets upset, does he?
He did an Amarula ice cream. It's like a South African liqueur, which was beautiful, but obviously you can't sell it with a lot of alcohol in it, here. And then he's tried a smoked corn flavour quite recently, which is actually really lovely, but it's hard to market something like that, to explain to people this is what that is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And come up with a name for it and all the rest.
So you cannot just take any ingredient then and make it into an ice cream, really, can you?
Well, you can, but obviously, it's if you have a little test machine, you can make a very small batch for personal consumption or other,
Yeah.
But sometimes, like, it'll be the nicest flavour in the world, but if it's not marketed properly, it's not going to sell.
Is Parma Violet still your favourite?
Yeah, one of them.
Yeah.
I've got about 3 favourites.
Yeah. So what are your 3?
Pistachio, chocolate, and Parma Violet.
Why Parma Violet?
I don't know. I've just always liked that flavour from childhood.
Is that the Swizzles Parma Violet
Yeah,
sweets? Oh,
yeah.
gosh.
The ice cream's lovely. It's lovely in a milkshake.
Right.
So it is. It's not as strong, but it's lovely paired with chocolate as well.
Okay.
So
How much does social media play into influencing MPD today, and trends and consumer trends, and what, or is it simply when you're looking at developing a new flavour, are you talking to your customers, are you talking to your suppliers, or is it a mix of all of that?
Well, at the start of the year, we go to 2 trade shows. There's one in January in Rimini in northern Italy, and that'll be where the most innovation is. But the market in Italy is light years ahead of us. So you'll maybe see things there 5 years ago that are only coming in here now.
Would that be in terms of flavour combinations?
Yeah, flavour combinations, and the whole salted caramel has now evolved into salted chocolate and salted other things. So you'll start to see those trends coming through. I don't think we've had salted chocolate here yet, but that was one of the big trends maybe 2 or 3 years ago there. So you'll maybe start to see that filtering through.
Might we
soon.
see that
coming? I'd say so.
Later in the year?
Those sort of savoury flavours were all really huge, and like there was one stand that had a whole salty selection, a cabinet full of salted flavours. We take it in turns, actually. We don't all go every year. So the boys will maybe go one year and then I'll go the next year. Or sometimes it's pretty full on. The exhibition itself is huge. So it's chocolate, coffee, ice cream and pastry.
Yeah.
So you can imagine what that's like.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds great, but it's a bit like, when you're doing it day in, day out.
It
Imagine.
It is full on.
Yeah.
So there's a smaller show then in February in Birmingham at the NEC. So we all went across to that in February, and we were able to see then our own suppliers and try what we feel, sort of drill down into what we saw in Italy a little bit more, and then you express your interest in what you would like, and then they eventually come over to the factory then to make some ice cream. There was guys over there last week making ice cream in the factory, so we've got maybe 8 or 9 new flavours to try for this season. One of them will be potentially good. It's a real sort of limited edition and fun new flavour. So
for the summer?
For the summer, maybe just slightly before the summer.
Can you give us any more
It's colourful.
Oh, okay.
So.
Fruity?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. A little exclusive there for us. When you collaborate with the likes of Done Simply Better, because you supply an own label range, the Done Simply Better range, talk to us a little bit about that relationship. I mean, that must have been a bit of a game. Was that a bit of a game changer for the company?
It was.
When that happened?
I actually got a phone call from Paula McIntyre, who is good friends with Brian McDermott. Brian's a lovely chef from Moville, Donegal. And she says, is it okay if I give Brian your number? He wants to chat to you. And I said, yeah, go ahead. So Brian rang, we had a good old chat on the phone, and
isn't he lovely, Brian?
He is
McDermott?
so easy to get on with and very knowledgeable about food. He's just a great all-round person, lovely. So he said, can we come up and see you? And the Simply Better team will come up and we'll do some tastings. And I said, absolutely. So we got cracking on. They gave us kind of a brief. But what we liked about Done Simply Better is it was going to be co-branded. So it wasn't
completely
own label. So that floated our boat.
Yeah.
And we liked the idea of developing the range together with them. And it was a great experience from start to finish. The guys are rightly so, very fussy about what goes into their products. So we gave them, I think we had a range of about 10, maybe 10 or a dozen flavours, and they picked an initial 5, and we've gone from there. So since that, we've launched 2 new ones, and they're all selling really well, which is great.
And I don't think that people in Northern Ireland realise, or consumers, when they're shopping in the multiples and they're buying own label, either the Dunn's Simply Better range or the Sainsbury's or the Lidl ranges, they don't realise that there are Northern Ireland companies behind these products. So I think that's why it's an important question to ask. I love it when our guests talk to us about it, because, you know, we want to educate and inform so that people realise that a lot of wonderful Northern Ireland producers are behind these products that you're seeing on shelf. Did you have to compromise at all in that relationship? Is there a bit of compromise?
I don't know if compromise. I mean,
or more collaborative.
I mean,
is it?
sometimes the initial sample, it turns out to be, oh, let's try and change this or that. And this happened with the chocolate. So we sell a triple chocolate ice cream there, which is another one of my favourites. So when we were developing that, the initial one that we gave the sample of was the favourite. But we were like, let's try and improve that. And we made about 25 other chocolates, and we went right back to the original one. So that was frustrating more than compromise. But it was good for us, because we found out that what we did initially was actually the best thing.
Right. Okay.
But it took us round the houses to get there, obviously. But that's no bad thing. It keeps
real learning curve.
A learning curve, definitely. But it was nice, a nice experience from start to finish. There was nothing negative about it at all.
It's an incredible range. So Morelli's is available right across the multiple. So tell us where you're available.
So Tesco, north and south, Marks and Spencer's, north and south, Sainsbury's, north, and also in England in about 60 stores, all over GB. So mainly in the south. And obviously the Simply Better range then with Dunn's.
So that significant investment that you made in the plant, in the manufacturing side of the business just before COVID.
The timing was right.
The timing was perfect.
Papa Guido was giving us signals from above.
Yeah, because things were so different for so many other producers, but because you had that retail presence, you'd invested all this money, you were able to then you had capacity then.
We had
for production.
capacity, and also during COVID, a lot of our scoop customers obviously withdrew the product from the shelves. It was too hassly for them to keep it on, so we were able to offer them an alternative product, which was brilliant that we were in a position to do that. And so the retail range really took off from there, and a lot of places were able obviously to put that in where the scoop ice cream wasn't possible.
Yeah, because we were still having to do our weekly shop, and we were locked up in our homes, but we indulged in little treats.
Yeah, definitely.
And the range was available then in the multiples.
Yeah.
So that worked out.
It did.
Yeah, great. You love collaborating with other Northern Ireland producers, don't you?
We definitely do.
I know that you've collaborated with Alistair from
Alistair and Irish Black Butter. Yeah. It's one of the cult flavours I was telling you about. Yeah. So we have, like, for instance, in Portrush, we have a 24 flavour cabinet in there. And we like to change up the selection. But when you don't have Irish black butter, there's stamping of feet in the shop. Yeah, it's become a real sort of cult flavour. And we've actually made it in 2 litre take-home packs for people as well. So
an Irish black butter, actually, how would you describe it?
I would describe it as a dark, kind of sticky substance, but it's flavoured with all the right things. So you've got a little bit of cinnamon, you've got apple, you've got spices in there, treacly, and it ripples through the ice cream really well. It holds itself really well.
So it's a savoury product with a hint of sweetness that's incredible with any of our local cheeses, but also in your ice cream.
Yeah, and also lovely in an affogato. So if you had no Irish black butter ice cream, what you can do is use vanilla ice cream with a dollop of that on top, and then add your espresso.
So shout out to Alistair at Irish Black Butter to keep making that incredible product. You also work with melting pot fudge.
We do indeed. Yeah. That's a new relationship that kind of developed. We launched that last summer, and it sells very, very well. It goes again lovely with the double cream vanilla. It just adds another hint of sweetness and gooiness to it, and it works really well.
And I love on social media the way you refer to these collaborations as a match made in heaven.
Yeah,
they're matches made in heaven, which I think is lovely. And because you've also collaborated with Devil's Churn, the lovely award-winning caramel sauce,
and it's really different too because it's like a smoked caramel, so it adds a different dimension to it as well. So they have a lovely range of products, and they all work really well with ice cream.
Anybody that you'd really love to collaborate with? Let's put it out there.
We could maybe do an updated Piggy in the Middle with Peter.
Peter
I don't know how that would work. Yeah, he does a nice cinnamon bacon. Actually, that might work well.
There you go, Peter. If you're listening, are you thinking about collaborating with any other Northern Ireland producers?
One that I've actually always wanted to try, and I think we did a trial at a time, maybe just before COVID, and we never went back to it. But I think Punjana tea and biscuits flavour has some elements in it that I would like to try it anyway. I think with the matcha being big at the moment and tea in general is having a bit of a resurgence, I think it might work well.
We need to have a chat with Jonathan.
We definitely do.
Thompson's Family Tea, don't we? What other major developments are you working on this year?
We are going to be launching a new flavour in this range. So it'll bring the total up to
take-home range.
And I can probably tell you that it is the chocolate. So obviously Dad's chocolate, which is a hit. It's a real nice sort of milk chocolate flavour. It's not overpowering.
So it's a little bit softer then.
Yeah,
on the palate.
It's not a dark chocolate or anything, but it's a nice versatile chocolate.
Look forward to that.
So that's coming. We've also got a very exciting project at the factory that's called the GMIC. So the Guido Morelli Innovation Centre is going to be opening this year. So Dad's 10th anniversary is this year. So we thought we've always wanted to have a development kitchen and an innovation centre where the factory is, so it's happening finally this year. So we just got the equipment commissioned yesterday, so that's forging ahead. So it's just a little bit of work yet to do on it, and that will hopefully be going by the summer or early autumn.
That sounds so exciting, and what a wonderful tribute to your father. I know the Ice Cream Alliance have a wonderful award in honour of Guido Morelli, and that's the Emerging Rising Star Award in the National Ice Cream Champions. But your own innovation centre, that's something else.
It's something else, and I think something that Dad would have loved. To make use of, because his development kitchen was Mum's kitchen in the house, much to her dismay. I always used to make a right mess, but that's how we developed new recipes back in the day. So
once the Innovation Centre is up and running, goodness knows, will you maybe collaborate with local education authorities and schools and colleges?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. To train up the ice cream makers of the future?
Yeah, I think it's important for people to see even the science behind making ice cream, that it is quite a technical process, and the amount of work that goes into a new recipe or a new formulation. So I think it'll be an educational place as well as a place for us to work on new things, and it'll be great for us to even have the likes of the guys from Dunn's up when we're developing new things and say, what do you think of this, or what do you think of that, or what could we do to make that better?
Is Naldo the current brain behind the whole scientific approach to the ice cream making process?
Naldo's the managing director of the company. He's very much hands on deck in every department, but production, and very much he loves the competition time. So when it comes time to doing the Great Taste Awards, samples, the Blasna Éireann, the Ice Cream Alliance, that's where he really comes into his own. He gets excited, and for the first time this year, the girls made ice cream for the Great Taste Awards.
The girls, as in yourself and your sister,
and my sister Tanya.
Spill the tea there now.
Well, we just thought it was about time the girls had a shot at it. So we have.
What have you entered for Great Taste Awards?
I have entered a mascarpone and hot honey.
Oh,
and my sister has entered a violet and cacao.
Oh my word.
So yeah, hopefully we'll see how we do.
We'll watch this space and we'll keep everybody up to date.
I think we like that. We embrace that because we can be more inventive than we can for if we were bringing something to market. So you can go a bit wild with those.
And of course, you had incredible success at the Blossom Erin, the Irish Food Awards in Dingle in 2023, didn't you? When you picked up the Supreme Champion Award. I mean, that was...
You can't get any better.
No,
than
you
that,
can't,
really.
because what that says is on this island of Ireland, Morelli's mango sorbet, wasn't it?
It was the mango sorbet.
The best product in the whole of Ireland.
Yeah.
So,
we were flabbergasted, I think. And even when I wasn't there, but my two brothers and my nephew, who now works in production, Dario, was there, and he got an eye opener, I think, to what was involved in the Blossom Erin. He had a great time.
Yeah.
So
there's a beautiful photograph of your three brothers and your nephew outside Dick Mac's pub, holding the Supreme Champion Award. It's a gorgeous photo.
I just remember I was on holiday in Sicily with my husband and my son, and I got a phone call, and I was in a restaurant I was surrounded by families. I think it was it a Sunday? Maybe Saturday.
It was a Saturday
evening,
yeah.
And I left.
The awards are announced on the Friday night,
right? Okay,
into
so
the Saturday.
It must have been the Friday evening, and Arnaldo phoned me, and I couldn't believe it. I was at the table in this restaurant. I leapt out of my seat. I was yo-hoing, and the Sicilian man that owned the restaurant was looking at me like I was mental, but I didn't care. It was great news.
Supreme Champion, it deserves to be celebrated. Just talking about the family dynamic, because you're working with three siblings and your nephew.
Mm-hmm.
When things get a little bit tricky, or you're tested, or you're under pressure, or things are going a little awry, does it get a little bit hairy amongst the family, or how do you resolve?
I think it helps that each of us has our own departments within. So obviously Arnaldo's the managing director, so he oversees everything really. I'm sales and marketing. My sister runs the office and she does a bit of buying as well. And Marino is MPD and he does logistics as well. So he organises the vans in the morning and things like that to get loaded. So there's no real infringement on each other's what we look after, and I think that helps. And then if there is a problem, we come together and say, well, look, I've got issues here, what can we do to sort it out?
But you're a very close family, aren't you?
We are very close, and I think because Mum and Dad aren't around anymore, that it makes it a wee bit more special that we all work together and we see each other every day. So Arnaldo comes to our house for dinner twice a week as well. So he's
does he cook?
Uncle Na, as he's called in our house. No, he doesn't really cook. He heats things up in the air fryer. So, but yeah, it's nice that he has that connection with my son too, and they're close as well.
Who's the most Italian in their temperament? Who's the fieriest, most passionate? I'd say you'd be pretty Italiano.
I'd say my mum's side of the family, the DeVitos are a bit hot-headed. Now, it takes a lot to push my buttons, but when I blow properly, so probably me.
But you're a lover, not a fighter, aren't you, Daniela?
Mainly, yes.
Yeah.
Mainly.
Tell me, we ask all of our guests of the wonderful Northern Ireland products that we have available, the abundance of them. What Northern Ireland food or drink products will we always find in Daniela's kitchen?
You will always
cupboard?
find Peter Hannon's guanciale in my fridge because it makes the best carbonara, and that's a firm favourite in our house. But it has to be made properly.
How do you make your carbonara?
So we'd fry off the guanciale first, take that out of the pan, leave the nice oily coat in it. You boil your pasta. You crack 6 Kavanagh eggs open, just the yolks. Mix that up with a little bit of pecorino.
They have to be Kavanagh eggs?
Of course.
Yeah.
And when your pasta's cooked, you drain it and you put it back in with the guanciale fat and coat it. And then turn your heat off and add your eggs so that they don't scramble. And that's the perfect carbonara.
A la guanciale.
Guanciale. Very important.
Daniela, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Not at all. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you.
This episode of the Love NI Food podcast was brought to you by Andrew Ingredients, supporting the local food industry for over 80 years.